This Christmas, delight your family with these fabulous cannelloni, beef and mushrooms, easy, quick and exquisite. Drizzle some oil into a pan, a clove of garlic, and let the oil become fragrant. I add the mushrooms. These are frozen mushrooms. If you want, you can use fresh ones or whichever kind you prefer. These are of excellent quality. And let's let them brown. Once the mushrooms have started to release their water, let's wait and let it evaporate completely so they dry out. The liquid has evaporated. Let's add a bit of salt, a bit of pepper, and at this point let's saute them a little. Okay, let's finish cooking. The mushrooms are ready. Let's turn off the heat and let them cool down by setting them aside. In the same pan where we took out the mushrooms, add the ground meat and let it brown well. Once the meat is browned, we add the salt, a pinch of pepper. If you like it, add it. Otherwise, don't. And then we deglaze with a bit of white wine. And let the alcohol evaporate. Very good. The alcohol has evaporated. Let's turn off the heat and let it cool down a bit. Very good. We have everything we need to prepare our filling. So the filling for the cannelloni, I have prepared a fairly thick bechamel sauce. Then, of course, I will give you the measurements below in the description, naturally. And for those who don't know how to make it, you can easily check the description where you will find the link to the bechamel sauce recipe. But I think most of you already know how to make it. So I'm putting the bechamel sauce here in a bowl. And another thing, for those who don't prefer bechamel, you can use ricotta or robiola cheese instead. Basically a fresh cheese, so you can mix the other ingredients together with a whisk. I melt it a little. If you find it a bit difficult to melt, don't worry. It melts easily. And you can always add a little bit of milk, just a tiny bit. Okay, and we melt it really well. Here we go. See how it melted right away? Very good. Okay. To the bechamel, let's add the ground meat we've prepared. And mushrooms. But before putting them in, I use kitchen scissors to chop them up a bit, so I make them smaller like this. And we put them into our dough. We add some provola cheese, but you can easily use mozzarella, fior di latte, or whatever you prefer. I use dry provola so the dough holds together better. I add some Parmesan cheese. And another pinch of pepper. And I mix everything together. And here it is. Our filling is ready, perfect, and now all that's left is to fill our cannelloni. As you can see, I'm using cannelloni, the ones you can easily find at the supermarket. But for those who don't want to use this type of pasta and prefer to use fresh pasta, you can simply take lasagna sheets and form the cannelloni. These are very practical, and I have to say the result is also excellent. So let's do it this way. I transferred the batter into a piping bag, so it's easier, right? I cut the tip. And I fill it. Here we go. The first cannelloni is done. That's how it looked from behind. And let's continue with all the others. Very good. With this filling, I stuffed 14 cannelloni. Now we need to season these cannelloni. And how to season them, either with sauce or with bechamel. I was thinking of doing both, so adding a bit of bechamel to the sauce to make it softer and more delicate. But this is optional. So if you don't want to add the bechamel, it's perfectly fine to use just the sauce or just the bechamel. So what do I do? Obviously the bechamel has thickened a bit. So I add a few spoonfuls of sauce into the bechamel and mix it in. I make it a bit softer. Alright, now I'm going to add a bit of bechamel into obviously the tomato sauce. Simple. When I say simple, I mean a bit of oil, a small piece, a clove of garlic, some tomato and basil. Nothing more, nothing less. Then, of course, I'll give you the right amounts, the correct measurements, always down below in the description. Okay, great. You see, it's nice and liquid. That's how it should be because we need to cover all the cannelloni. In a baking dish, we put the tomato sauce at the bottom, spread it well, and arrange the cannelloni. We don't place them too close together because during baking they will expand and end up a bit bigger. And we cover them with the sauce. If it turns out to be too thick, add a little bit of water, okay? Cover well with the sauce, because the sauce needs to be plentiful so that the cannelloni can cook properly. If instead we're using fresh pasta, maybe a little less is fine. And now a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. And at this point, all that's left is to put it in the oven. Here it is. This way we'll get a perfect result. While the cannelloni are cooking, I want to make a small clarification about the bechamel. For those who don't want to add it to the sauce, just make half the amount of the recipe I'll put in the description below. Okay, I hope I was clear. The cannelloni are out of the oven. I baked them at 190 degrees for 45 minutes, 20 minutes covered and 25 minutes uncovered. Okay, what can I say, my friends? It smells wonderful, even though I have a bit of a cold. And now we just have to let them cool down a bit and then taste them. And with this delicious taste, I wish everyone happy holidays.